Hi everyone, welcome back to the Successipe. I'm your host Jason, where we take small recipes and turn them into profound successes. Today we're diving into a conversation with Sergio Valencia. He's been grinding for a decade plus on the food scene in the Bay Area. He's got a catering company called Chacho's Catering, and we're just gonna find out a little bit more about him. Let's dive into it. You're covered in beautiful art.
Yes.
Where did it start? Where's number one at?
Number one is right here.
Yeah.
18th birthday. Survival of the fittest.
Yep.
Yeah, me and like 4 other friends went to Fort Bragg because we heard about this guy that did kind of traditional tattoos.
Oh, cool.
So we went out there and everybody got something in Japanese writing. So
yeah.
And then after
that it just
boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get like a high from the needle?
Not necessarily.
No,
it's mostly pain.
Mostly pain.
Yeah, I forget how much it hurts, but I like it. Yeah, I'm not done yet. I got to work on my back next. That's my next project. Yeah.
What do you got going on your back?
I want to do kind of like something for my grandpa. He passed away a couple of years. It'll be 3 years this month that he passed away. So he was a huge inspiration. So I want to do. He grew corn a lot, so I want to do a corn stalk down my spine.
Cool.
And then I have a picture of his hat hanging with like 3 or 4 heirloom corn.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Have that piece.
And have that integrated into the plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does each little piece have like a meaning, or do you just kind of do a couple things that you just felt right? Or
some of them have more than other meanings, but yeah, like the sunflowers that I have here, those are also for my grandpa.
Oh, right.
At the end of the cornfields, he would plant sunflowers. Yeah, and that's what it reminded me. And those are my favorite flowers.
Sunflowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a Sempesochi, the marigold farms, and it was so cool. We were doing these drone shots over it, and it was just like all the different types.
In Mexico?
Yeah. And then they also had a different other kind of a flower there that almost looked like a furry tail rose thing. And that was really
Is it like a purple one?
Yeah.
It's still a Sempesochi.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We went for Day of the Dead this past year. To Guadalajara, and they had them everywhere.
Yeah.
And we asked them, like, what are those called? And they're like, oh, they're also Sempesochis, but they're
really? Cool.
a different variety.
All right.
Yeah.
They're so neat, man. I've never seen
like
a flower
velvet,
like
right?
Like a velvet, yeah.
Yeah,
and it was cool, like having all the different oranges and yellows and then those dudes.
It's so beautiful.
All right. Cooking.
Yes.
You've been cooking for a long time.
Yeah, about 15 years. Yeah, I've been 15 years. I did the culinary school, and then started working at a restaurant. Then I did a retirement home for like 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Started as a dishwasher, moved up to kitchen manager, and I think a lot of that has to do with me speaking Spanish, because the staff was all Latinos, hardly spoke any English. So when that manager left that spoke no Spanish, then I told the manager of the facility, like, let me run the kitchen.
Yeah.
I got experience with being a manager at sales positions and all that stuff, so I can manage a group. And he did. So I took it, and then I was very proud of that too, because the retirement home is mostly frozen food and food out of the cans.
Right.
So I started making like soups from scratch and little things like that made a difference.
Yeah.
And at the end, we even started a garden.
Oh, sweet.
And we made a calendar every year of like the elder people harvesting and doing all kinds of things in the garden.
Oh, okay,
yeah. And we sent my last year that I was there, I sent one of the calendars to Alice Waters.
Oh,
and
sweet.
So she responded with her cookbook and she signed it, saying how happy she was with it and all that. So that was pretty good.
That's great. That's a collector's item too. At this point.
Wow.
Yeah. Neat. And then from there on, you're like, okay, I can do this. I can manage kitchens. I can cook. And then you started moving forward.
Yeah. And then after that, then I went to culinary school.
Oh, after that, you went to culinary school.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But what got me going was I was already a little bit into the cooking, and then my friend was getting married. Never done a wedding before, no clue what to do, but I've known her since I grew up, so a lot of these people that were going to the wedding was family. So I was like, oh, if I'm gonna mess up,
this is the time to do it.
This is time to do it.
Yeah.
So it was about almost 300 people, and it was out in Grass Valley in a ranch. Like,
whoa.
Yeah, no kitchen, nothing. and it was just me and my buddy.
You had to construct the whole thing.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
But she wanted a ton of different things too.
Wow.
I remember it was like ceviches, and then cochinita pibil. We did a Jamaican jerk chicken. So a lot of this stuff could be prepped ahead of time, but then I told her she needed to get like a grill and stuff, because I didn't know about you could rent stoves, and
Sure.
plus I didn't know if they were gonna even take it out to this mountain out there. Sure. So we made it happen, and after that, and just seeing how people were so happy with everything, and I was like, all right.
I think you got something here.
Yeah. If I can do it, if I can do this with just me and my buddy, I can do a lot of things.
That's amazing to start on such a big note.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Until this day, when I see her, she's like, people still talk about my wedding.
That's cool.
I'm like, yeah, and you were the first wedding that I ever did.
That's cool. And so now that you have that experience and kind of this, your good friends talking about how she has friends and family members also talk about that, do you ever think about kind of a legacy that you want to put into your art? Like, do you ever think about like that this art that you're making, being food, kind of lives beyond you and lives outside of your realm?
I hope so. This is why I feel like a lot. This is why I want to do like a cookbook, maybe, just to keep it going.
Yeah.
And eventually, I will.
Yeah.
A lot of my mom's recipes, because those were the inspiration
Family
to begin
recipes.
with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like a family. I got my aunt who's a great baker.
Cool.
So I want to take some recipes from her too, and I want to remake all of them, plate them, take a picture, and do all that. Write stories behind every recipe and stuff. So
I don't know, and maybe you can talk more about this, but I feel that like cooking traditionally was always like a woman thing inside the kitchen for the family, for everybody to enjoy.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turned into this like professional development, isolation, like rise to the top chef, all these kinds of things. Do you think about that? Because I mean, obviously you are a professional chef, you are doing this, but then do you also kind of like, sounds like it, you think back and you fall back on the community aspect and the community involvement of your family and all that with the food?
Oh yeah, and how it brought us together.
Yeah.
Every Sunday we would go, and this is while I was living in Mexico. Like every Sunday, my grandpa had property out in the mountains, and where he had his avocado plantains and all that. And we would all just get together on Sundays and cook. We either make tamales, or you just go and grill some meats, and then and then my aunts would go, and then we had a wood burning oven, so they would make bread.
Oh dang!
Sweet bread. Oh my God.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Michoacan, did they have the pan de muerto out there, or pan de yema?
Pan de muerto.
Yeah.
And there's a little town, maybe like 30 minutes away from Cotija, which is where I'm from, called Tinguindín, and they're also known for their loaves of bread.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet bread.
Cool.
Lightly sweetened with piloncillo, which is
Yeah.
the rock sugar,
Yeah.
and cinnamon. And they do different styles, and then they'll even make filled ones with chilacayote or pumpkin or yams.
So it's kind of a savory sweet kind of deal.
Savory sweet. Yeah. It's a great balance.
Huh.
So
Cool.
we go out there and just grab a glass of milk. I mean, you can eat
is
the
that
whole
right?
thing really easily. Yeah.
You travel to Italy and
Yes.
you cook out there,
Yeah.
but you also have this obviously Mexican heritage and then American.
Yeah.
Where do you find your identity in food?
A mix.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love mixing cultures, and I think I've done a pretty good job. And being in Italy was one of my hardest critics out there, because Italians are very like
Traditional.
This is it.
Yeah.
Do not change anything.
Yeah.
But I still did it,
Yeah.
and I would feed my friends out there. And at first they were like, "What are you doing?" And then they would try it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's not that bad." I'm like, it's fine. You can mix things.
Yeah. The biggest perpetrator is pineapple on your pizza.
Pineapple on
right?
pizza. Yeah. Or I mean, and even they do not do dairy with their seafood. Like, do not put cheese on like a seafood pasta or anything that has seafood. Like, do not.
What would you put? What kind of dairy would you put on seafood?
Nothing.
Okay, no, but in general.
Oh, in general?
Yeah, what would you put?
I would do like some cheese maybe, or if I do like a creamy pasta with shrimp.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah, but that's not a thing over there.
Oh yeah. That's not a thing over there.
No.
Oh wow.
Yeah. you know, they have their little,
Yeah. Creamy pasta and shrimp is delicious.
right?
Man.
But, you know, that's why we're here.
So you try to find a mix.
Yeah. And then when I was there, I also introduced them to like Mexican food.
Yeah.
They only know about tacos and nachos and burritos.
Sure.
Really bad ones too,
Yeah.
on top of that. So when I was there, I made cochinita pibil, I made birria, but and then I brought masa harina from here.
Oh, wow.
And I was making fresh handmade tortillas. I was making sopes, everything.
Oh, dang.
And I would invite my friends, and they would come over and they just have a feast. And their mentality in the beginning was like, Mexican food is spicy, like everywhere. Everything's spicy, and it's not that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, you know, because we're here in the Bay Area and our border is with Mexico, right? So we have somewhat of a different understanding of Mexican food than obviously you're from Mexico, but there really is that perception of just like nachos, burritos, tacos, and that's the extent of Mexico.
God,
but it's so much deeper than that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially going down to Mexico City, I mean, you get the creme of the creme right there. What Mexican food is like, or it should be.
Is that where you like it, Mexico City?
Yeah. There's just so much variety, and it's such a melting pot of all the other states that you can get anything there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can go to each region and taste some amazing food.
Yeah.
But if you want to consolidate it to one area, Mexico City.
Cool.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the emotional connection over food. And, you know, like when people have certain foods or smells from food, like it brings you back to that place. And
Yeah.
We've spoken about your grandfather and your grandmother and your people in your family. What's the emotional connection you have to food? Like, is there certain foods that make you want to cry, or that you really enjoy the smells and tastes and feels of them?
Yeah. Speaking of Mexican food, refried beans. There's just a connection. Whether it's my mom, my grandma. I remember my grandma on my dad's side. We would go to her house and there was always a pot of beans on top of the stove, refried beans.
Uh-huh.
No refrigeration, nothing. It's fat, so it's gonna stay. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And it was so good. I don't know what she did, and she did not have the the proper idea of cross contamination. So I would go in there one time, or a few times, and she would have a molcajete, and she wanted to make meatballs. So she would have chicken on the molcajete, like smashing it to grind it, kind of thing, raw. But then that's where she would make her salsa too. I'm like, but we never got sick, so she must have been, she must have washed that thing thoroughly and
lime or something, who knows?
Something, but and she would always be, just feed us to death.
Cool.
But then she would also tell us like, you're so fat, that she's like handing us a plate of food. But that's how grandmas are.
But that's like an endearing thing, right?
It is.
Like, isn't there like a saying like "gorda buena"?
Yeah.
You know. Or like I know like a lot of times people will refer to someone, "Hey gordo."
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
it's a term of endearment.
Term of endearment, right?
Yeah.
That's cute.
And then because I used to be really big, and when I lost all the weight, then she would be like, "Oh, you're too skinny," kind of thing. So I was like, "Oh, grandma, I'm never gonna win with you." But
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I think there's something about smells, and that. When you walk into a place and you smell it, like there was this place in San Francisco, in the Tenderloin I used to go to a lot. It was a Pakistani place.
Ooh.
You used to go in there, and this is pre-pandemic, and just like they had 2 tandoors going, and the smoke was just eye level.
You could see it.
It was so loud in this grimy ass place, and it was just people from all over the world in different beautiful outfits and all this kinds of stuff, and just like it emanated like passion and overall like sensation overload. And when I think about that, it brings back such like a warm feeling of San Francisco to me.
Especially when there's fire, the smell of masa and all that, it just brings me back to the Sundays in Mexico, and because everything was wood fire out there and like fresh masa, and it was great. And now it's not the same anymore because my grandpa's not here. My grandparents on my dad's side, they're not here either. So we still go out there and we have a great time, but there's just that one element that's missing.
Do you think about that as tradition? Like that's, and I was kind of going back to that that idea of legacy, and like, you know, that concept of legacy, tradition, and you grew up having this tradition with your grandparents and out of Mexico. Do you think about that too, about like maybe how you would like to create that tradition at some point, or even now, right, with your friend's wedding, like there's some form of a tradition or legacy that's
and I mean, we do, like here with my parents and then my brothers and sister and stuff like that, Sundays are usually our day that we go out and eat or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Still,
we still do it, and then during the week I'm always cooking.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of week I have, then that's the extent of the meal that I'm gonna cook.
Yeah.
But I always try and have them over like once a week, or friends, or something like that, because it's just, I don't know, it's my joy just to be around people and feeding them, and it's what I look forward to.
That community.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about your start in the kitchen at the old folks' home, going to school, doing that first wedding, and then now in your professional career, where I'm sure you have along the way. Can you describe some of your failures?
Yeah.
And then kind of, I know when we met earlier this week, we were kind of talking about that transparency and like people being kind of afraid of the failures, and then, you know, once you start opening up about those failures and how you grew from it, other people want to know about that because they're also hiding from their failures too.
Yeah.
You know? So my point in this question is like, not just to talk about how you failed, because obviously you're successful, but like, what was that failure, and then how did you grow from it to get to your success? Yeah.
Well, failure-wise, I've encountered recipes that I've tried and they don't come out. Let's say one time I was trying to do this Italian, it was like a dark chocolate sauce. But in my head, I was like, oh, this could be like a mole then. So I tried it, and it was just horrendous. I had friends over. They're like, oh, we're going to try this Italian mole that I found. It was with chicken. And I tried it, and it was bad, but I still fed it to my friends. And they were nice to me. They were like, oh, yeah, it's so good, and this and this and that. And me thinking in my head, I was like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You know. And then later on, like the next day, I texted one of them. I was like, that sauce was nasty, right? She's like, yeah, it was. I was like, see, I knew it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've been pretty blessed.
Cool.
I never really had any issues at events or anything.
Business-wise too?
Business-wise, yeah. It's been pretty, thank God. I did, though, I started the business with a business partner. And my part of the business, I was gonna be just focusing on cooking and doing all that, and then he was gonna be doing the books and the taxes and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I ended up doing everything.
Yeah.
So that lasted about 2 years, and then it was like, okay, well, if I'm doing everything, there's no need for me to share this, because why?
Yeah.
So then that, and of course it didn't end well. It happens, but I learned from that to never mix your friendships with the business. And I've had people come up to me and be like, hey, let's start, doing stuff. And I'm like, nope, this is me, and that's it. Because first of all, I don't want to lose your friendship. Yeah. And then I already built something. I don't need people anymore. This is me, and I'm just gonna be evolving as the years come by and see where it takes me. Whether it's brick and mortar or, I don't know. I always like the idea of, once I get older, to go back to the Santa Rosa Junior College. That's where I went to culinary school. Cool. And teach.
Oh, cool.
Once I hit that age, and I want to be more, relaxed with a secure income. Possibly went out. Yeah, exactly. And I have patience. Like, I feel like I'm able to teach people. So yeah, that's
great, man.
Yeah.
And what about when you're building your business? did it all of a sudden just kind of like you just started getting clients, or was it kind of like step by step and then things started folding for you, or
so the process was when I knew I've always wanted to do my own thing. So when I started cooking, a couple years in, when I got a little more confidence and stuff, I started to do little events on the side kind of thing. So then they got bigger and then bigger and more often. So by the time I actually launched the business, I already had people that knew who I was. So it took off from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I've been busy. Obviously, some years are better than others.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's been great.
Do you feel kind of, what do you think the mechanics are like in terms of the recipes for success? Like consistency, innovation?
All that.
All
Consistency, yeah, innovation. You gotta stay fresh, come up with new things.
Yeah.
Because especially if you have clients that keep coming back,
yeah,
they're not gonna want to eat the same thing every time.
Yeah.
And this is one of the main reasons why I travel a lot, because everywhere I go, I always get ideas and I go eat, and then I'm like, oh, I can do this with this, or how can I mix this with Mexican flavors, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's a magical part of traveling, right? And like having that little bank open inside your mind. So like as you're traveling, you're also thinking about like, what are these things that I'm eating and how can I relate them back to home?
Exactly, exactly. And the most success with that has been just me going to Mexico. You know, like just because it's part of my roots, and I can take that and make it into something else.
Yeah,
remakes it. Yeah, I feel like one of the most eye-opening ones was when I went to Yucatan. I was doing cochinita pibil here before that, and I thought I was doing a great job. And then I went and took a course with Rosalia, she was featured on Chef's Table Barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh cool.
And we were able to get a class, like a little session with her, and I was like, wow. I'm not even gonna tell her that I've been doing cochinita pibil because she's gonna ask me how I do it, and she's gonna be mad at me. But then I learned how to do it somewhat how she does it. Obviously, I'm not gonna go dig a hole in the ground, but to imitate that, like I'll use the Traeger, like smoke it for a little bit to give it that.
Oh, the Traeger.
Yeah. And then I brace it and I was using way too much condiments too on the one that I had. So now it's more brothy and more delicate, and you can taste the pork, not the achiote.
You were talking about imitating and being inspired by people. I think in like this kind of culture of social media and all this kinds of stuff, it's like everybody's copying each other, but then they want to act like they're not. But I like how you are very transparent about that. Like you don't have an ego about that. It's like cooking is all about evolving and learning from others and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel that like that, is that accurate for you?
Yeah. I don't really have like I don't know, celebrity chef or any of that. That I want to kind of follow steps.
Yeah.
I just like to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And it's great because like I'm myself.
Yeah.
And I don't think my style of cooking is very different than any other cooking around here. So that's where I have the advantage too.
Yeah.
And I'm very creative. Like my clients, like I do a lot of weddings, so I'll interview my clients first, and I'll get to see them and feel their energy, and then ask them what their likes are, and then their dislikes and all that.
Yeah.
And then I'll write up a menu. And if they like it, we go back and forth.
Yeah.
And then once I have a menu that they enjoy, I cook it for them. And this gives them a sense that of being more personal with them and like custom to them. Yeah. It's not just a cookie cutter menu that I can make for 10 other weddings and stuff. So
yeah, that's cool. I had another chef on. His name is Colin Curtis, and he has this company called Nourish and Vibe. And we were having the same conversation, and I feel like it's the new kind of Successipe for chefs and people that are trying to push boundaries, and that's creating these like micro relationships with each person that
it's all about
do
that.
Business for.
Yeah, and I'll cook anything.
Yeah,
and I mean I've done Filipino, Japanese. I did Iranian once.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, and it was for a baby shower, and it was for a friend. And they wanted that rice. I forget the name of it right now.
Oh yeah,
the crispy rice. The
yeah,
rice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "Make the rice, but I'm just gonna tell you, there's a lot of Iranian moms there, and they're gonna let you know if they don't like it."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Damn, all right," but I still went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
And I made a twist. Like I added shiitake mushrooms to it, like sliced shiitake mushrooms, and which the moms were thrown off by it. But at the end of the day, they loved it.
Cool.
Yeah, they're like, it was cooked perfectly, blah blah blah. And I was like, all right. So my friend came up to me and was like, you did good.
Right.
I was like, all right.
That's cool. And maybe it helped you like that because it wasn't so traditional.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like I'm pretty good with feeding people things that are not traditional and that they wouldn't try otherwise.
I met you in yoga, and I know that you have been going to that yoga class for years, right?
About 5 now.
About 5 years.
I started right before the pandemic.
Okay.
Maybe I did maybe like a month, and then it hit. So then we were off. I don't know how many months until we could go in there with masks.
Right.
But I've been pretty good at going. It's just such a good way to start your day.
Yeah.
You get up in the morning, you go stretch out, meditate a little bit, sweat.
Yeah.
And then I feel like your day is just that much better.
Yeah. So that's basically what you do as like kind of like a daily ritual if you can, right?
Yeah.
Before you get into the kitchen or whatever you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yoga, Pilates, and then lately I've been doing weights.
Okay.
Just
kind of mix it
build
up a
muscle and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about, I mean, we talk a lot about on the channel about getting yourself grounded before you start the day.
Yeah.
Doing meditation, some kind of stretching, some push-ups, just anything that you can do to get into yourself, and then you can move forward with, your best self, And I always thought that seeing you in that yoga class and then going through all that was just like, I can tell that you were doing that to kind of set yourself, get grounded, and then you're about ready to bounce off to work or whatever, So that was always cool.
Yeah, and I feel like it gives you a lot of energy throughout the day too, if you start like that.
Totally. Instead of just slamming a cup of coffee and getting into it.
Yeah. And plus, coffee doesn't do anything for me. It's more of a taste than energy. Yeah, it actually does the opposite for me.
Crashes you.
Yeah. I'll drink coffee to go to sleep.
Oh yeah?
I'm one of those, yeah.
That's funny. You brought up a little bit about travel.
Yeah.
And kind of finding new flavors. Are there any other reasons why you travel, or you just get the travel bug, or?
I love to meet people and just experience different cultures. Recently, last year, I went to, feel like it's been the most extreme trip, India. So we were there. It was crazy amounts of people, chaotic, traffic, but the food was so good, so good. Didn't get sick, but we didn't try the street food though. We played it safe. But every restaurant that we went to, it was just insane, and it's so different than the food here.
I feel like India they're not really known for the street food too. I feel like it's more the shacks.
The shacks, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even like the high-end restaurants, but because I don't really even remember eating street food there, except for like pakoras or just some chai on the street. But everything I felt like was always like inside of a little restaurant.
Something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, traveling. I try and go somewhere 3 to 4 times a year.
Yeah, because you've been going to, and why did you end up choosing to go to Italy so often?
I love the culture.
Yeah.
I want to learn Italian. This past trip, I was there for 3 months. I made some amazing friends over there.
Cool.
Now I want to move out there. But realistically, I rather prefer be half and half. Do my high season here, 6 months over there. That would be ideal for me.
Yeah, sounds great.
I need that energy, the European energy. Every time I go over there, it's just, it's always a good time. Obviously, living there is going to be different than visiting there, like anywhere else.
Sure.
But their lifestyle is just so much different, and not as, I feel like it's not as materialistic and like go. Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Because I think Italians are always known for being high fashion, materialistic.
But in such a different way.
Yeah.
High fashion, but it's not like high-end designers. They just dress well.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like a high-end designer that's, you're spending thousands of dollars on stuff, and they just.
That's what I really liked about, like, just in Europe in general, like, no one would ever go out to the store in sweatpants.
No. And here, like, I would, and exactly. And I've always liked to dress up. And going out there is just, you go to the supermarket, you're gonna put some decent pants on, some shirt and a coat. I went during, it was cold season, so it was like your long coats, your scarves, your sweaters, so it's perfect.
There's something to be said about that, like in terms of how you feel. I feel like, when you're out there you're dressed nice, everyone else is dressed nice.
Yeah.
There's something about that just makes you kind of feel better and feel more present and like presenting yourself.
Yes.
A lot of times
100%.
I hear people are like in hoods and you barely make eye contact.
You can't say anything because then they're like, and then I experience that a lot. Over there, you're walking and some, say buongiorno or whatever it is, right? Here, like I'll go on a hike and people like avoid you and don't even make eye contact and stuff.
Different cultures.
Yeah. But going back to dressing up and stuff, and even like I feel like it even helps you with your posture. Like you walk like you don't slouch or anything because you feel good.
Yeah.
And then you come back here and it's yoga pants and sweatpants and flip-flops and slides and everything wherever you go.
California stuff.
California.
Do you think that you would ever want to work out there, or is that something where you would just kind of participate in the culture, but just being kind of like a lover?
No, I would work. I would definitely want to open something out there, even if it's temporary. Like I said, 6 months, or I mean, and who knows? Maybe it does work out and I can move out there.
Yeah.
I would have no issues moving.
Yeah.
Especially now living there and seeing the potential that I could have out there with cooking Mexican food. Yeah. I was in Florence. There's a ton of expats over there, and I met a few of them because of language school and just word of mouth. Yeah. And went to a couple house parties. I took some Mexican food, and they were like, "Oh my God, you made this here?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like we have. Yeah. How is that? Like how? And there's only one Mexican restaurant in Florence. Yeah. And it's garbage. Yeah. So they really missed that, and they were like, "If you come out here, we will support you 100% if you can make this."
That's one thing that we've been talking about on the Successipe a lot on the show, and that's kind of just doing your own studies without having to go to school. Like you go out to Florence, you go to Italy, and you just kind of start to kind of have your eyes open, your ears open as to things that you can do. Yeah. Like you went out there, you started talking with people, and now you have like, this could be possible. I could have a career out here. I could make money out here. Yeah. I could live half and half. But in the end, I feel it's about having that mentality that anything is possible, right?
Anything. Yeah. Anything. And that and not even the success, with the expats, but also with the Italian people. Sure. Making them try food, especially when I was going to language school. Yeah. You get the professors there and stuff, and they're older, so they're very, in their own ways and stuff. But we would have a potluck every other week, and people would bring different stuff, and I would always bring something that they would never taste. Yeah. Oh, cool. They had never tasted before. And in the beginning, they're just a little hesitant. I'll just try it. Yeah. And once they tried it, then they were like, "Oh, this is really good." Yeah. I even had one of the professors, a younger one. He was like, "Hey, can I take the remainder?" I made this ceviche. It's called carne apache, which is ground beef, but it's like a ceviche. Oh wow. Yeah. Same method. I grind the beef, cook it in the citrus juice overnight with some serranos and onion, and the next day I add the tomatoes and the jalapenos or the cilantro and all that.
It's like a pico de gallo, but with beef.
With beef.
Yeah.
And that's a thing from where we're from.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I put it on a tostada, a little Valentina sauce, maybe some pickled onions, and you eat that stuff. It's so good. I'm actually gonna make some of that today.
Yummy.
Yeah. So I made that once, and they were like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
It's just I was just try it. I was like, it's beef tartare.
Yeah. Put it in a perspective for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and they did, and I made a really good impression, and
Cool.
with all the professors there in school, I had them like my last day of school. It was a very emotional day. They were sad that I was leaving and stuff, and my favorite teacher, she's from Sicily, and yeah, she was like crying and stuff. I'm like,
that's beautiful.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
I'll be back, and I'll come back and say hi.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people that you could kind of share for anybody out in internet land that are wanting to be cooks or are wanting to possibly leave where they live and move somewhere else and create a career, create a life?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for that? For them?
If you're gonna go cook, cooking is gonna be the easiest way to move somewhere because food brings people together. For me, it's always been, I'm a very positive person. So it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah.
But you just can't give up. And don't be afraid. Just learn, because you're gonna learn from your mistakes. And I've done that a lot. And it's always been a positive. There's always been these speed bumps through all this. And there's always the positive in everything that happens. Yeah. And you just take that and you learn from it, and that gives me the motivation to keep going and do better and just look forward to just to be better at what you're doing. Yeah. And always have something, like I always have something planned in the future, or like a goal or something, because that's going to give you the motivation to do it. Yeah,
that's neat about and I think we already kind of talked about that, but I kind of want to bring it back because a lot of what we've been talking about is community connections, being out there, these kind of recipes that you've used to reach your success. And because in my experience, it's all like these really high fast-paced, high profession positions, like cooks and fashion designers and stuff that I do in media. They're always very competitive.
Yeah.
But I do think though that there is an amazing community out there that isn't cutthroat and competitive. Like right now, you were just talking about how these other chefs that you're gonna try to talk to, and then you're gonna see if you can kind of form a community out there so you can do your own pop-ups.
Yeah.
Do you think that's just kind of like, do you see that as being true, or do you feel like that doesn't bother you and you just drop your ego and you just go out there and meet these people anyways? Like, because you don't really come off as like a competitive person.
No.
But what that field that you're in is
it's very competitive. And I met people like that too. And just by their introduction to yourself. Yeah. Especially around here, I've met some guys in the industry that are chefs and stuff, and the first thing they'll say is like, "Oh, I'm so and so, and I worked in Michelin star restaurants and blah blah blah." I'm like, "Good for you." Yeah. But with that introduction, I'm like, "Okay, I know what I'm dealing with." So it's fine, we get along and stuff, but
you just got to navigate that.
Yeah, and it doesn't bother me or whatever. That's their personality, and they have to deal with that, not me. Yeah.
So you just be you.
Yeah.
In your lane.
Yeah, and especially, and my staff love me because of that too. I don't have an ego, so everything they also work with other caterers, and they always tell me, they're like, "It's so nice to work with you because you're always so relaxed, and like everything's always like everything always gets done, but you don't have that stress and that other people have, and just your clients are always like so happy and everything, so it makes it so much easier." Yeah. And then I do all the cooking, so when we get to the event or whatever, they just have to set up what they have to set up. They already know what to do. We have a lot of downtime too, so it's it moves really smooth.
Cool.
And they love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of a great mentality to have for any kind of profession, right? Is to put love and intention into whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you get that on the return, right? The output is going to be that. It's going to be infused with that, and then you're going to get that on the return.
Oh yeah. They love it, and I'm working my way up to my business. I worked in restaurants and with different chefs, and you know, there was a few that I was just like, damn,
Crazy.
they were crazy. Yeah, they just fed off, you know, being just super like, oh, like I'm the big guy. Yeah, and put people down and stuff, and and I saw that a lot, and I was like, damn, like
Don't want to be you.
no.
Yeah.
And they usually all end up where they make their bed kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of these chefs are not even here anymore
Right.
because of that.
Dealing with alcohol abuse or
Yeah.
anger management issues and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that what I've learned along the way, and then also, speaking with other people that have had these successes and these turning points in their careers, they had this aha moment where it was like, whatever they were doing that was stressing them out, that was stressing out their team, had to change.
Yeah.
And as soon as they made that click in their mind, like, I need to start loving the people that are supporting me. I need to start loving myself so that I can have a better product. They always saw a huge shift in their productivity, their response, for the product and their customers and all that kind of stuff. And I always feel like that's like a number one motto to go by,
Yeah. Exactly. No.
Cool, man. Where can we find out about you? Where do you have an Instagram or website, or if people want to learn more about you? Of course, we're going to put that at the description of the video. And if you want to know more about Sergio and what he's got going on, like his pop-up possibly in Italy, if you want to follow him, you can check out the link below. But where can we go?
Yeah, Instagram, chachos.catering.
Cool.
That's my professional business page. And then for travel and food, there's my personal page, which is called Let Chacho Feed You 81. Okay. And then I have a website. It's www.chefchacho.com.
All right.
Recently updated by a really good friend, really talented.
Cool.
I'm very excited about the new
website.
Yeah, because when I started my business, I did it myself on, I think it was Wix or something. Sure. So it's very plain and boring. And now she put.
It's flashy.
Really,
represents you.
Yeah. I also met her at the studio, at the yoga studio.
Oh, so, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
cool. Well, thanks so much, man, for coming by.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And stay tuned for more issues to come. And like I said, if you want to follow Sergio, hit the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about the interview, and if you want to know anything else. Ciao.